We have with us Malcolm Poynton, the global CCO of Cheil. They've done most of Samsung's award-winning work, and yet they are not an in-house agency. Hi, thank you so much for joining us.
Neeta, great to be here with you today.
We've noticed over the years, a lot of Samsung's work has been focused on improving the lives of people with developmental disabilities, differently abled people. Was that a very strategic plan, or it just happened to fall in place over the years? Did you really want to go in that direction always?
I think this comes from perhaps a couple of factors. One is that Galaxy, part of Samsung, which is the mobile brand that most people will know, really centers itself around openness. And of course, openness brings with it a fantastic opportunity to really open opportunities to all people in the world. And, there's dimensions of it that are to do with the product in terms of an open ecosystem, but there are other parts that are to do with making opportunities for people through what the technology can enable. And so I think that, openness comes to life in many, many ways. One of the most powerful ways that I think we all recognize is, technology with purpose can make a big difference in this world. And it's something that really separates Galaxy and Samsung from its competitors, is this commitment, which has been ongoing for more than 10 years, to really enable people in the world through technology. So use technology with purpose behind it to create a more open world.
And the best part about Samsung and the work that it does with in this line is purpose connects with the brand very, very well. Unlike
Yes.
a lot of other brands, we just do it maybe for the sake of doing, and without any real brand connect.
Yeah.
So that's one thing which is fantastic. Another thing is you're a fantastic example of agency, an in-house agency which came out of the shadow of the mother brand,
Right.
and are working with so many more non-competing brands. Tell me at this point, what is the breakup of business between Samsung and the business that comes from outside of Samsung?
Yeah, look, I think we have an incredibly healthy balance of business. Globally, for sure, I would recognize that balance is different in different countries, depending on our relationships in those markets. But definitely the global balance is very healthy. And I think like any strong agency, we do still have a lot of pride and a lot of attention around our foundation client. And that's a very appropriate thing. At the end of the day, we're very blessed to be on a journey with one of the world's biggest brands, probably I would say contributing the most of any of the big brands to our global society. So that is always going to be very important to us.
Okay, and but having said that, please tell us which are the other global brands that you're working with.
So we work with Adidas globally, which is a very big piece of business for us and exciting piece of business across many different aspects of that brand. And we also work with brands such as Little Caesars, who are growing and spreading across markets, and that keeps us really busy at the same time. More locally, perhaps, within India, we also work with ASICS. We work with JK Tires, and of course these complement Samsung, and there are many other brands such as MG Garages that we work with as well.
I was going through this article by one international publication where you had shared the 10 best global campaigns that you are putting forth at
Right.
Cannes, and 5 of them were from Samsung.
Yes.
So would you really say that Samsung gets the best out of Cheil still?
Yeah, absolutely, and I would say that for me personally, this really matters, right? I think, we do our best work on our biggest client, is what I encourage of all of our teams, and I think that's a responsibility we have to this fantastic brand that we are a partner with, Samsung. And I think, for me personally, if I go back in time, it's what I've always encouraged at M&C Saatchi. Our best work came on British Airways. At Saatchi & Saatchi in Australia, our best work came on Toyota, our biggest client. At Ogilvy, when I led in the UK, our best work came on our biggest clients, which were Unilever, with Dove or with Hellmann's. And our second biggest client was Cancer Research UK. And this is true of the journey we've been on with Samsung, is that we put more work into the world for Samsung that gets more recognized than any other agency, because we really believe in the brand and we partner with the brand so closely that we're able to ensure that we do our best work on our biggest brand. At the end of the day, I think that's the best for business.
Interesting. And you have a proven track record, I think, be it at Ogilvy or Saatchi and Saatchi. You really won lots of awards there. But I really want to understand from you, how would you differentiate Cheil from the other big agencies that are competing at Cannes? What is that USP really?
Yeah, I love that question for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
A few reasons, actually. I think, first of all, of all the global networks, we're the only global network that's born this century. We don't have the legacy behaviors of traditional agencies entwined in media buying operations and dependent on that, right? So we are incredibly agile, and we can shapeshift around whatever is changing in the market. So that's one aspect that differentiates us. The second that I think is really exciting for us is, we're a network from the East, not from the West.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that our attitude and our thinking is very different because of that, right? And I think we're more open to more what the industry would call different kinds of approaches and thinking. And again, coupled perhaps from traditional media, we will think in any space or direction that's going to connect a brand better with the consumer. And I think the third thing is the way that we've grown up with our foundation client Samsung. It means that across the network, mobile and innovation and connecting brands with Gen Z is in our DNA.
Okay.
We're not trying to find out how to do it, it's what we do. And I think that's a really unfair advantage in many cases because it's just naturally running through who we are.
Okay. In fact, I was going to just ask you that, unlike the other network agencies which are headquartered in London, Paris,
Right.
the West basically, and you are the only one, I think one of the rare agencies which is actually headquartered in in Asia.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
Seoul. So does that really give you a competitive advantage with regard to, as far as tapping this booming Asian market is concerned?
Yeah. I think yes, it does. I think it's also brings with it something that I would say is incredibly important, and that is a level of energy and excitement around opportunities that is different than how people are when they come through the training that they do in our industry in the West. And I think, it's actually quite fundamentally different how our teams approach things with our offices in China, India or Seoul, especially our three big offices who produce a lot of our fantastic work in the world. We think of how we solve the problems just very differently. And I think because of the things I said previously, we're unencumbered by this traditional give me 30 seconds of film, give me an out-of-home poster. And we're very much in touch with what is reaching and connecting with this generation that are so important to us today.
And let's hear a little bit about the Indian market and what it means to you.
Well, the Indian market is really important to us because, as I say, our three biggest markets are India, South Korea and China. But I think there is something also really important to us around India, and it goes far beyond the conversation that most people have around Samsung, which is mobile. It goes to all things that Samsung contribute. And when I look back at the contribution of the brand in India and the commitment to India, and I think of the amazing things that we've done from tech school for girls, from servicing the rural part of India, to things like Good Vibes with the world's first interfaceless app for deaf-blind people. These things could only be in India. And I think, things like service van, building those service vans to service a rural community, it's in step with the government's objectives to support those people. When I think of, tech school and the fantastic work we did around that, that's around educating the women in India in technology, which again is another government focus. So I think what is special in that sense is that while we strive everywhere in the world to make sure all of our work, and particularly Samsung's work, contributes to society, in India it manifests in a very special way.
But we don't really have any entry from India this year at Cannes. Is there a specific reason why
So I think things changed in the last short-term cycle for us, and I'm really, really excited by the program that we have Solve for Tomorrow in India, which really is, a reality show that's happening today to solve the things for tomorrow.
Okay.
And it just so happens that hasn't been wrapped up and framed in a way that would come to Cannes, but I think the contribution to society in India is significant. And so this reality show, Solve for Tomorrow, brings in young contenders to pitch innovation ideas in a way that's kind of a mashup between, Shark Tank and perhaps also an internship in a big organization like Samsung, to then invest in those winning ideas that will help solve for tomorrow in India. And so for us, this has been a huge program, and it's hugely important. Of course, these things take a while to put together and configure in a way afterwards, which you would then take to a show like Cannes. But it's been a really exciting project, and I think it shows a consistent commitment in what we're doing in India.
And you have a new CCO in India, Vikas. I
Yes.
think really looking forward to what he does next year.
Yes,
at Cannes.
exactly.
And just one last question. You were the first global network CCO of Cheil.
Yes.
Tell me, in the past, that was in 2015 if I have it correct. In the past many years, how have you seen Cheil evolve?
Yeah, well, we've evolved in really interesting ways, because I think, again, unlike other networks, there are certain parts to how we evolve that are different. So I think we've evolved at the speed of mobile innovation, at the speed of Gen Z culture, and I think that's a very different thing to others in the industry. But what that's brought with it is that we've evolved our creative product. And we've really evolved from, kind of like having a mighty strength in soul that we do with creativity, to then seeing that journey spread, and we've elevated and managed to achieve the same things with India, with China, with Brazil, with the Netherlands, with Spain, with B&B, with McKinney in the US. And so really, we've brought a lot of our offices' offerings up to this level, which has had a significant impact on inspiring back the next office and the next office. So I think that evolution is continuing, but it's happened actually incredibly quickly compared to our competitors in the industry. So I think that's the main evolution that we see, is that our creative continues to evolve and our capabilities continue to evolve. So we continue to do firsts in so many areas, like something we mentioned earlier, this advanced AI within Galaxy products to suppress sounds for people with ASD, or things as sophisticated as what we've done with the NKPA in Korea for Knock Knock, where we're enabling emergency calls.
A big favorite here today.
Thank you, yes. And so I think these are demonstrations, and we look at Fast Frame in the Netherlands, which helped their Olympic athletes achieve gold using Samsung technology. So I think these things are showing our constant evolution at the cutting edge. We're not talking about AI, we're implementing AI. We're not talking about mobile innovation, we're creating mobile innovation. And I think that's typical of how I see our continued evolution. But important with that is that it's in deep collaboration with clients. And we talk about something called Connect Plus, which actually brings different disciplines together to do that. And again, that's another aspect of how we are different. We have specialisms in different parts of the world, and we collaborate so seamlessly across those to enable great things to happen.
Looking forward to such great work, and hoping that you continue to improve lives of people all around. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And here's to all the things that we can contribute in the future.